Yes, a good day, and welcome once again to Talk Your Talk. It's always a pleasure being here, and I'm always happy to be here, for real. Now, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, I have what I'll be talking about: grow your child in the way he or she should grow. And the way I actually, well, not the way, the reason why I'm making a video today about this topic here at this point is because this morning when I rise, I realized I had something on my mind, and what I had on my mind was seriously R.Kelly, honestly. So I guess most of us know, right, what is currently happening in the life of R.Kelly right now, where actually he's been accused, allegedly abused a set of women, most of them like young girls and stuff. They even said it was like underage children and stuff like that. And they say this thing had been happening for quite a number of years, right? So, a lot of years. And it's only now that people decide, well, they will come forward and say what he had done to them and stuff like that, okay? Now, underage children. So, I am wondering how actually that happened. First of all, let me make it abundantly clear that I would never, I never did, I would not, I never would ever support anybody who abuse women, okay? Who take advantage of women in those ways. I would never ever support that, because if I'm aware somebody closely associated with me doing such, most definitely I will have to address it. Serious. I would not support that. I can't support that. There is no bone in me that would support that. But then, and if for any reason people find themselves doing such, there is a way to deal with these people. Because if you rape people according to the Holy Scripture, you know the drill. Anyway, but the point is, in this world, right, there are all different kind of people living in this world. Okay, you have to basically admit that. Okay, but then there is something I realize that is common among the people who claim that they have been abused. You see, most of the time people talking about people that are underage, right? And the guys are pedophile and stuff like that. So that is what they are saying. I am not saying that, okay? I am just basing my reasoning based on what comes through the media. I guess that is what most of us usually do. But then, because people say people do certain things, that doesn't mean that you will just go and just judge them like that. There is always two sides to a coin, basically, and there are also edges. There are also two different sides in a story, because sometimes most people will see the same accident, but people will have different view on the accident that occur. It's like somebody will see something different, so we have to also respect that, because people have their own way of thinking and stuff like that. Okay, so something I find that is common in that situation is that most of them, their parents are involved. It's simple. Most of the people are aware that their children were basically living or were with R.Kelly, right? And I mean, like, it's funny because After all these years, no, you decide to come forward, you know. And it's not like somebody have their child or Kelly kidnap their children and have them in a house, and they call the police, and the police go and get the children that are under age and charge R. Kelly about it. It's nothing like that. It's all these years you find people comes about and say, oh yes, he had done me this because for whatever reason the life probably are not going the way they should, so they blame it on somebody. And a lot of people in our community have a tendency to do that. Now, I am not bashing victims or anything, I'm just saying what I see. Okay, now there is a way I look at it again. Okay, and I realize that our children, our young girls and stuff like that, were not supposed to find themselves in situations like this, because you're supposed to grow your children in a particular way, you understand, so your children will be able to see the world the way it is, look at people the way people are, and they'll be able to make right decisions. Okay, but what I do believe is that on many counts, people basically don't grow their children the way they should go. You understand? Now, you know your child. You look at a child, you know the child's tendency, you know what children usually show their negative ways since they are small. You understand? And if you observe your children, you'll realize that you are supposed to train your children away from certain tendencies you would notice that they are developing. Okay? And that's the absolute truth. It's like you have a plant and your plant growing in a particular way, then you have to your seed go, you have a tendency to go wrong, so you'll have to straighten that plant. That is why people always say that you have to bend that tree while it's young. You could only bend that tree when it is young, when you observe the tree is going in the wrong direction. So that is how you're supposed to grow your children, if you understand what I'm saying. Now, so if people like R. Kelly or anybody else who you think might be pedophiles go to your school and they see your little daughter, you understand, because of the wisdom and the knowledge you give your child, you understand, they would not be lured away by anybody of that nature. Anybody who comes around and try to lure them with a candy, lure them with $1 million, lure them with this and that, like, and things like that, they would not be carried away. You understand what I'm saying? That is the point I am making. I am not saying that they cannot be, like, killed, or they cannot be kidnapped or anything like that. That is something completely different. You understand? The thing is, they would not be lured away and go live in a house with a man, you understand, or anybody else without your consent as a parent, if you are their parent, because you grow your children in the way they should go and you have them in a particular direction, so they would not deviate from that. Now, there is a saying that you make children, you don't make their mind. People do say that. But I look at that as a cop-out in certain ways, because once the children is under your care, you're supposed to be breaking that child out from since that child is small. So you have to be knowledgeable, especially in these times where there are so many distractions in our world. You have to be versed on what is happening. You have to be anticipating every obstacle your child might encounter out there in this world. You have to go the extra mile. I am not saying your child will be like immune to everything, but you have to give that child that particular foundation and guidance as to the way the child should go. Now, there is a part in the Holy Scriptures, and something I realize happening in our community. Right? Now, there is a part in the Scripture that said, Leviticus 19 and 29. So let me just read it for you here. And it said, "Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness. No. What do you understand by that? You want me to read it again for you? It said, do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. That is Leviticus 19 and 29. Now, what is that? Nobody deliberately, as far as I know, or the people who I know, deliberately train their daughter to be a hoe. Like tell your daughter, well, okay, well, your mission in life is to be a hoe. Nobody tells their daughter that. But you tell your daughters and your granddaughters in other ways, which will cause them to function basically like a hoe. So let me tell you. First of all, I noticed that within our community, you look at a lot of women, and they see a guy, and the first thing in their mind, most of them, I am not saying all of them, because just like there are good women out there, there are good men out there too. There are bad women, there are bad men, and that is a fact. But basically, the first thing that comes to most women's mind is whether you have money, whether you are financially secure, how much they could get from you. You understand? That is how most of them think. You understand? Now, the fact that that is the first thing come to your mind when you look at a man, or you are assuming that this might be a potential suitor, but the first thing comes into mind is money. The first thing coming to mind is how much house you have, how much cars you have, how much this and that. Basically, I will tell you straight up, you're thinking like a hoe. You could say what you want. That is exactly what you are thinking about. Money, how much money you could get. So right there in your mind, it's a business transaction. That is whoredom. You understand? That's a fact. And that goes basically across the board. Now, it have most women, they grow their children, and their child might be, well, you see it in movies, you see it in real life. It's a fact. This guy can't give you anything. Why would you be with this guy? He can't give you anything. Most women tell their children that. Most friends tell their children that you can't be with this guy because he can't give you anything. Right? So then basically your relationship becoming, the guy have to give you something. He have to be in a position to give you something, not you giving him something. It's all about you getting something from the guy. You understand what I'm saying? So most people grow their children like that. When you meet a guy, it's what he could give you, not what you all could build together, not the kind of relationship you all supposed to build, because most of the parents, they don't even know anything about relationship. So they send their children out there thinking, you have to do this. I send you to school because you have to make money. I send you to school, you have to make money. I tell you this, I tell you that. You have to get a man because he could let you raise your nose. So people go around with this idea. That is exposing your children to whoredom. You see, you have to teach your children values in life. It's not about money. It's about values in life. So your children will escape all the distraction and the evil that is out there. Because people know, Satan know that your children will be carried away by the glitz and the glamour. They knows that. And that is exactly what most parents entertain with their children. See what you could get from him. If he can't give you anything, then he is not worthy to be your man. As a matter of fact, he is not worthy to be my in-law. And most of the time, your parents will give you beans if you meet with a guy and he have one pants. Now, you people could say what you want about this, but that's the absolute truth. So when people accusing people, as I said earlier, You understand? That does not give anybody the right, and I'm going to say it again, to do anybody this kind of wickedness. It doesn't. That doesn't give anybody the right to rape people. That doesn't give you the right to abuse people. No, that doesn't give anybody the right to do that. You understand? Regardless. Because as I said, the coins always have two sides. You understand? But what I am saying is this, that based on the situation that is occurring right now in R. Kelly's life, you know, with all the accusations, and nobody come out to really prove anything. They're just saying actually what is happening, and people are trying to bring him down and trying to get rid of him, like if he's like the worst thing that happened, you know, on the face of the earth. You understand? All I am saying is this, that if it's a case of your children finding themselves in somebody's house like that, you have to ask yourself, why would motivate your child to be like that? And most of the time you have to look at yourself. You have to know how you educate and grow your children so they wouldn't fall victims to that. You understand what I'm saying? Now if it is a case whereby they are kidnapped, that is a completely different story altogether. I'm just telling you how to try to protect your children. You see, you have to spend the time to grow your children properly. And if you could spend that time to grow them properly, you understand, you could swear for them. Some people say you can't swear for children. But then if you grow your children properly, you would know exactly what your children would and would not do. And then the thing about it, with all these years, the parents know that the children were there. They get monies because obviously they get gifts and stuff like that. And, well, they enjoy gifts. But then it don't go on forever. You understand? You see? And that's the thing about it. Most of the time, it don't go on forever. So I'm thinking that why all the time when certain things happening, people don't come out and say, well, that is happening and let's deal with it as it is now. You understand? I think that would have been the best thing to do. But then regardless of what happened, to save other people who have those kind of problems, who might have this kind, because there are a lot of people out there who are real predators. There are people who are real pedophiles, which I do believe that they should be shot. You understand? There are people like that out there. But a point I want to make and get across is that if you spend time to grow your children in the right way, you understand, then when people approach your children on those kind of levels, they come in straight to you and say, Mommy, this guy told me this, or he told me this, or he spoke to me about that. But why? Because you don't reach that level yet. So you want to know. So everything that happens new in your life, in your child's life, your child will come to you and ask you about it because you are the ideal person. You understand what I'm saying? And that is exactly how it's supposed to be. But it always comes down to how you grow your child. And then when your child comes and they say, okay, well, this guy tell me to go home with him and spend an hour or two, but I didn't go because I don't know, I never do that, so I want to find out what happened here. Then you deal with it. But then what about if the child come and tell you, okay, well, that guy say you have a lot of money on base, and you send the child, you turn that child into a hoe. Most people does that for money. It's like you're selling your children for money. You're making your daughters into a hoe. Most people use their children, especially their daughters, to get well-to-do men with a lot of money, and making them feel what is their responsibility to get a wealthy man to better their family situation. That is prostituting your daughter. That is exactly what you are doing. You're prostituting your daughter. It is not your daughter's responsibility to get no wealth, to go out there and try to get a wealthy man to better your situation. That is not her responsibility. You understand? So most parents does that. We have to be aware of that. Don't get this man because this man don't have nothing. He have half a pants. Get this one. You have buildings and you have cars and you have everything. And you put your daughter there as a hoe. He treat her like a hoe. He treat her like a hoe for real. Because those guys does know. You think if you in a house with somebody, they doesn't know whether you love them or not, and they treat you accordingly. They know you are there just because you want to get some money. They know you are there because you and you ain't going anywhere because your situation probably wasn't even better materially. But then you could be the best person you are. And even if they grow you to be the best person you are, or the best person you should be, what you will get to realize, owning and getting a lot of material things have nothing to do with having a good life. You'll get to realize that having 2 and 3 houses, being affluent physically with a lot of money and stuff running around, a lot of material things, you'll get to realize that have nothing to do with being a good life, or with having a good life. That have nothing to do with it. Yes, money could get you certain physical material things, yeah, but what does it have to do with a good life, a blessed life? The instructions are there in the Holy Scripture. You understand? That's where you find it. So what you suppose and have to do is to grow your child in the way he or she should go. That's all you gotta do when you have those children. That's all. Most of you don't say, okay, well, you can't provide this for a child. Watch, the best thing you could give a child is a life of love, a life of wisdom, knowledge. The best thing you could give a child is a child of wisdom. You give the child this kind of knowledge and this kind of wisdom and knowledge of the earth and people around him, not material things. Because I see a lot of people who parents give them a lot of money and they are so foolish. It's nauseous, I'm telling you. Okay, something I should tell you and you must know: never grow your child and point your child in the direction of owning material things. Never do that. You might say, why? Because when you do that, you're pointing your child to destruction. You're pointing your child to misery. That is not where a child should go. Always point your child to our Elohim, because that is where ultimately he will have to end up. Always point your child or your children to our Elohim. That's what you gotta do. And then in this way, you grow your child in the way he should go, because that's where he will ultimately end up. All the things about material things and money and stuff like that, they are temporary. Those things are not actually so essential to life, real life. No. But you point your child to our Elohim, to the principle of our Elohim, to the wisdom, to the love, to the arms of our Elohim. That's where you point your child. So be at peace, be blessed, and grow your child in the way he or she should go, and the world will be a better place. If you make your child into a hoe, what would happen is the whole world will be totally corrupt as it is right now. Remember, if a woman don't walk the road naked, a lot of wicked men would not be too lustful. You understand? If a man who have no wisdom talking to your daughter who is full of wisdom, who you educate with real wisdom, that might even motivate the man to find some wisdom and be a man. We all have a part to play. So be at peace, be blessed. I will most definitely see you in another video. Have a wonderful